whisper because we're in the doctor's office. But I'm currently getting allergy tested. They're doing like all of the tree nuts, olive tree, pine, sesame, and then all the common foods, just so that I can hopefully take progesterone here when I have my transfer. So the doctor, my fertility doctor, wanted me to come and get tested just so that we could find a good oil option for me for when I start the progesterone in a couple months. So far, it doesn't look like I have a reaction to anything, which is interesting. But we shall wait 15 minutes. We will wait and see. That right there, the red one, is the control. So we're halfway through our 15 minutes. I mean, that's sesame oil. The medical assistant just came in and to check on me halfway through. And she looks at my arms and she goes, well, what the heck? She goes, I guess we'll have to figure out what's going on. I don't know. But it looks like I'm pretty allergy free at this point. So I'm back from my allergy appointment, and it was interesting. I'm not allergic to anything. I didn't have any reaction to the sesame, the olive. I guess I probably need to like remind you that I had back in March of 2020 when I did a transfer. That was the one that I had my miscarriage. I had an allergic reaction to the progesterone and sesame oil. So they swapped me to the progesterone and olive oil, which I had an allergic reaction to, and then they put me on the progesterone, which is just the progesterone capsule, which I also had an allergic reaction to. So they pulled me off of all of it. My doctor at the time thought that I was probably allergic to the sesame oil, and my body was super revved up, which is why I still had reactions to the olive oil and the progesterone. But she thinks that I wasn't allergic to the olive oil. I'm gonna open this window. The olive oil and the progesterone. Like she didn't think I was allergic to progesterone. She thought I was allergic to the sesame oil. So flash forward to now, my new fertility doctor said, just go get tested for oils. And we can find an oil that you're not allergic to so that we don't have any problem with the progesterone injection when the time comes. And we're still a couple months out from needing to go on this injection. So we have some time to get this figured out. So now to today, I got tested for pine, like pine nut, sesame, all the tree nuts, all the common foods, so egg, wheat, milk, all that. Olive, pine, olive, sesame, yeah. So, and I had 0 reactions to any of them, which is great news for just the purpose of being a human. That's coming from somebody whose kid is allergic to dairy and milk, which is awful. So after the allergy testing was over, the doctor came in and he said, so there are studies, a very small study, but there are studies that show that it is possible that you are allergic to progesterone, in terms of like getting a very large dose at once. So for instance, he says, so like every month when you have your cycle, the amount of progesterone that your body produces is small. And because I told him, I said, you know, I have since that happened been on different doses, different forms of progesterone that I have not had a reaction to. And he said, but those were all low doses. So like the prometrium, I think is 5, I don't know, it's a very low dose of 5 milligrams or something. It's a very low dose of progesterone. And he said the injections are like 50 to 100 milligrams of progesterone. He's like, so I think you had an allergic reaction to the progesterone in that large, or what's the word, in that high quantity. And so that's why you're not seeing a reaction every month that you have a cycle or when you were on the low doses, but you did see a reaction when you went on the really high form, the injection. So, and he said, because I told him, I said, well, I was on the injections with my son when I was pregnant for 10 weeks. And then I was on the injection for like a week before I had this reaction last year. And he said, that's normal. He said, a lot of times, you know, you'll do something, I can't remember the word he used, sensitize maybe your body to it. So like was that the word he used? I can't remember. Anyway, so like my body the first time around when I was pregnant with Luke and did that was fine, and then it was the second time around that's why I had the reaction. He's like, it's like a bee sting. Some people, the first time they ever get stung by a bee, it's fine, and then the second time it's like a full-blown reaction. Anyway, so the plan moving forward, I did not expect that at all. Like at all. I was like, what? Which is really kind of disheartening because it's a lot easier just to change the oil than it is to try to figure out how to still get the injection of progesterone. It's the progesterone that I need. It doesn't matter the oil, but it's the progesterone now that I'm allergic to, apparently. Which is crazy. And he said it's pretty rare. Like my doctor thinking, because when I talked to my doctor back then, she was like, it is highly unlikely that you are allergic to progesterone. And he said, you know, it is highly unlikely. It's very rare. Your doctor may have never seen it before. He said, but I have seen it before because he's an allergist. By the way, this is the same allergist that I take Luke to. I really like him. Anyways, so he said what we need to do moving forward is, and I'm not going to really remember exactly everything that he said, but he's going to have his staff contact the fertility doctor's staff, and they're going to work out, and he's going to, you know, relay all this information, and they're going to work out somehow the doctor needs to get some progesterone. And what they will do is when the doctor can get his hands on progesterone, whether it goes from the fertility doctor or whether the allergist can prescribe it or whatever, he just needs to find out from the fertility doctor the amount that the fertility doctor wants me to have, like, to be injecting when it comes down to the treatment in a couple months. He needs to know what that dosage is, because the point of him as an allergist is to get me so that I can handle that level. So he's gonna get his hands on some progesterone. They're gonna do some testing, some skin testing, and then under the skin testing, I guess. And he said, and then just depending on how your reaction goes, depends on how we move forward from there. He said, if you end up with a negative test with the skin testing and the under skin testing, he's like, I will go right into what he calls a challenge, which means he will actually administer intramuscularly the progesterone to see if I have a reaction. If I get a positive, then they know I am allergic, and then what he called desensitize. Is that what he said? Desensitize, I guess it would be, yeah, I think that's what he said. So he would need to desensitize me to this allergy. I think that's the word he used. So they just work me up. They have to like give me progesterone, and they just have to like work me up to the level that the fertility clinic needs me to be able to handle. And I said, so what are the chances of this just not working. Like I wouldn't be able to do the injections come transfer time. And he said, very low. This should work. It's like no problem. And I told him when I needed to be, like, I need to start the injections. And I told him when I needed to start them. And he said, okay, we have plenty of time to get all this figured out. So anyway, crazy turn of events. I did not expect that at all, but as long as we can figure it all out and get it to work, I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me as long as like we have a plan moving forward. And that's exactly what he said. He goes, you don't care about any of this, you just want a plan. And I said, exactly. I just need to be able to take this come transfer time, and I don't care how that happens. I just need to take whatever it is that they want me to take. So that's what he's gonna try to figure out. So they're gonna work on their end between fertility clinic and allergist to try to figure out, I have no idea if my insurance is gonna cover any of this, but we need to figure this out. So they're just gonna try to figure it out on their end, and then I should hear from somebody soon to go in for a little bit more testing. So we'll see. I would have never expected I was all of a sudden allergic to progesterone, but in high doses, not in low doses. Like I don't have a reaction every time I have a cycle. So that's good at least. But anyway, when it comes to the Lupron, I have started having hot flashes, which are miserable. They're not as bad as the hot flashes I did have a couple years ago when I did it, but that could still be coming. I'm still very early on the Lupron, so having hot flashes, eating a ton, just like I remember doing last time, but doing good. Just now it's just the waiting game. We'll get this allergy thing figured out. And then I did get my calendar, so I already know exactly what day my transfer is. This clinic does princess days. They call them princess days, so like rest days after I do my transfer, and it just so happens that my princess days are on the weekend. So that's awesome for the purposes of like Mike and work and all that. So I think my transfer's on a Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday are princess days. So don't mind the laundry and the mess. It's just part of my life. And a part of everyone's life. Most people just shove the laundry under their bed or something to hide the laundry. I just let it sit on the bed because that's where it needs to be right now. Anyway, so I'm excited to already have my like calendar. Like I know exactly what's happening when, so that I don't have to be like questioning things. I'm supposed to go get my thyroid checked again because my medication ran out. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's it. That's it. And I will keep you updated on the allergy testing. Just crazy. But I think I use that word a lot. Crazy. Crazy. But it is crazy. Who's allergic to progesterone?